Bud, high five. Boom, good job. Hi, my name is Josh Patterson. Most of you know me as Coach Patterson, and this is gonna be Cooking with Coach P. It's a new thing I'm trying to do just to kind of lighten the mood and give you a couple things maybe that you can do on your own, maybe for your parents, maybe with your parents, while we are cooped up a little bit. So after touching my dog, the first thing I'm gonna do is wash my hands. So take a little bit of soap, a little bit of water, and again, 20 good seconds, sing the ABCs, kind of go from there. Really get in there good, getting all the cracks and crevices. Remember, you're gonna be cooking for other people, so you really wanna be nice and sanitary. Also, you wanna make sure that you have prepped your cooking spaces. I've already done that. I've Lysoled down the counters, made sure everything was nice and clean, so that way I don't have to go back and do that. Take your towel, dry your hands off. Today, we are going to be making a very simple dish. It's going to be very easy to do. Started off very simple. We are going to be making a Cellentani with Italian sausage and just a red sauce. Everything that I have is pre-bought. If you have this stuff, great. If you don't, I'm going to give you a couple substitutions you can use as well. First thing you want to do is grab a pasta. Okay, the first one I'm using today is a Cellentani. Okay, this is my favorite. It's a corkscrew pasta. The good thing is it has ridges, so that way I can grab onto the sauce. I really like that. Another thing that you can possibly use that you have more of is just a regular penne. Okay. I today am using a nice hot Italian sausage. Very good, very tasty. You can use just about any type of meat that you want. You can use chicken, you can use pork. If you are a vegetarian, you can even just substitute all veggies in. So there's a couple things that you can do here to really substitute in. The other thing I'm going to be using is just a regular pasta sauce, just whatever you have. But I'm going to spice up with a little bit of garlic powder, not salt, garlic powder. You don't want to make it too salty. And I'm going to kick it up with a little bit of chili flakes as well. So just to give me that real nice heat, so that way you really get that good taste and the good flavor in there. First thing you want to do is go over to your kitchen, go over to your oven, and turn it on the oven to 350 and let it preheat. I'm going to cook the sausage in the oven. I find that this keeps in a lot of moisture into the sausage. You can cook it on the stovetop. I just prefer to do it this way, so that way it cooks more evenly through. All right, got my sausage here, got it all ready and prepped. I'm going to just put it into a pan, and I'm actually going to cover this pan as well. If you would like to put some foil down first, that's fine. I'm going to soak these afterwards because they need a really good soak. It doesn't really matter if they're touching in the pan or not. You just want to get all of them into the pan. So you can see that I got all 5 sitting in the pan like that. So I'm going to take a little bit of foil, just some regular aluminum foil, and I'm going to tear myself off a piece and I'm going to get going with these bad boys. Also, while we're waiting for the oven to preheat, I can also start to make my pasta. You can make that ahead of time and just kind of let it sit there. This is one of those things that we can kind of do whenever you want to in the process. I like to do the red sauce towards the end, so that way it's nice and hot and everything's nice and hot really towards the end. So that way when you serve it, it's really, really tasty. Everything is kind of marinated together. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my pasta. The first thing you want to do is just get a very nice big pot, because we're going to fill this with water. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill it with water. It doesn't have to be hot water, it can be cold water, it can be lukewarm water. You can also do boiling water if you really want. Just wait for it to fill up about halfway to 3/4, because remember this is going to boil, so you might have water come over the top. I'm not going to put salt in right away. I'm going to wait for it to boil, and then I'm going to salt my water. So I'm not going to salt my water right now. I'm going to let it boil first, and then I'm going to salt it once it's boiling, just so that way it kind of really gets into the water. This will also help flavor the pasta a little bit, but also it helps it not stick together because you don't want sticky pasta. That just makes it really, really bad. So you can have any type of stovetop that you, it doesn't matter what type of stovetop you have. I have a electric flat range. I really like this, but you can do it on any electric stove, you can do it on gas, you can do it on a grill if you want to start a fire outside and do it that way. It does not matter. As long as you can boil water and you can grill some sausage, you can get this meal done. It's very good, it's very tasty, and I'm gonna let you guys go for a little bit, take care of some stuff, and I'll be back with you in a second. So we're back. I got two things that have happened since I stopped. I needed two things to happen. My oven is now at 350 degrees, which is right where I want to be. I wanted to cook the sausages nice. I'm gonna put them in for 15 minutes. You can put them in for 10 minutes, check them at 10 minutes, and then go 5 extra minutes if you need. I'm gonna cook mine for 15 because I wanna make sure that the pork is all the way done. This is one that you really don't want to mess with. You want to make sure this is cooked all the way through. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is just slide that bad boy in there. The next thing I want to do is, my water is at what's called a rolling boil, which if you come and look at it, come here. If you come and take a look at it, you can see the bubbles coming up. That is what's called a rolling boil. At this point right here, I want to now salt my water. And if you look, again closely, you want to take your hand, your nice clean hand, and you're going to fill it with salt. Right about there. Want a little mountain right in there, and then you can just dump it right in. Make sure you get all that in there. If you want to put a little bit extra in, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to keep it right there. So I'm just going to dry my hands off. At this point right now, water's boiling, sausages are in. I'm going to hit a real quick timer for 15 minutes up here, so that can get going, so that way I don't have to worry about my sausage. Grab your pasta. Now it's pasta time. So you want to do the whole box of pasta. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter what kind of pasta you got. You just want to make sure you have a little bit, something that's got a ridge on it. Just a very quick disclaimer, you don't need any salt in your water whatsoever. If you got diabetes, hypertension, you got people with heart issues, you don't need any salt. You don't need to add any extra salt whatsoever. I add a little bit extra because that's what I'm used to doing. If you want to keep it out, that's fine. If not, have at it. You want to make sure that you put the whole box in on the back or on the side. It will always give you the recommendation for how long to cook the pasta. This one is 11 minutes for what's called al dente. That's where it's not just chewy. So I'm going to set a timer for 11 minutes on my pasta, and that's why I also said to do the pasta at the same time as the meat. If you do them both together, then they'll come out about the same time. So I'm gonna set 11 minutes, and I will see you guys in about 11 minutes. And that is our timer for the pasta. So I'm gonna stop that bad boy right there. Pasta's done. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the burner off first. I'm gonna take my pasta. Back up a step. Strainer. You need to have this in the sink first. Don't just go dump the pasta in the sink, because then you're gonna be very, very upset with yourself. You need to have something to strain the water from the pasta. Most of the time someone has a strainer. If not, there's other ways to do this as well. You can look them up online. I may also put a couple extra hints as well. I'm using my strainer. I got that sitting in there already. So I'm gonna take my pasta. Make sure you get all the water out. You can take this back and shake it just a little bit. And then I'm gonna take the pasta for the time being, and I'm gonna dump it back in here. Off the burner, so I use the front burner. I put it on the back, and I'm gonna keep it there. And the other timer, going to be the other tasty part of this meal, is going to be my sausages. So I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna grab, oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna grab a pot holder, something to protect my hands from the heat. So I'm gonna grab that out. Open that up. Now, when you pull this out, you can just sit it on the stove for right now. Just remember that is hot, screaming hot. So now I want to carefully, and when I say carefully, I mean carefully, because you can burn yourself this way too. Just pull this back. Those are not done. So if you come over, and take a look at these, they are not done. Okay? So they're gonna need to go back in. I'm gonna stick them back in for another 15 minutes. Right now, this is just a waiting process for the meat. Okay? Now, what you can do is, not like that, take a pair of tongs. Pair of tongs. And again, this part, you can grab them and just flip them at this point. So 15 minutes on one side, probably another 15 minutes on the other side. Right now, you really are just trying to get this meat to be 100% done. And as I said earlier, you can use any meat. You can use chicken, boneless, skinless chicken. You can even use bone-in chicken and pull it off if you really want. You can use no meat whatsoever. You can use pork, you can use sausage, you can use hot dogs if you really run out of ideas. I don't personally think that's a good idea, but you can use hot dogs if you run out of options. So these are all things that you can do. I'm gonna stick these back in for another 15 minutes, and right now I'm gonna play the waiting game. So again, I'm gonna take another little break. Now we're gonna pull these. Hopefully we're 100% done, so that way we can keep on building our dish. So let me just check them real quick. They're looking nice and juicy. Let me just poke them real quick. They're looking done. If they're not done from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna slice them up, because we gotta cut these up anyways to put them in, and we'll just give them a real quick fry to make sure they're 100% cooked all the way through. We really want to make sure these are 100% cooked all the way through, because this is one of the types of meats that you need to cook all the way through. Chicken and pork. Those are two that you gotta make sure are 1,000% cooked, so that way you don't get somebody sick. So to protect my counters, I'm gonna grab just a very nice cutting board. Now these are still hot, but I want to keep on working with these. So I'm gonna actually pull each one with and hold it with here. Typically what I would do is I'd let these cool for maybe 5 minutes, let them cool down so that way I can actually hold them. But in this case, I'm just gonna hold them with my tongs and cut the other way. Now, this is the part where you gotta be very careful. You wanna make sure that when you're using a knife, you always make sure that you have a very firm grasp on it, and that way you're not going to cut yourself. This is the biggest thing. The other thing is you want to make sure that your fingers are away from the blade and you cut away from you. Okay? So I'm actually going to move over here so that way y'all can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to move my candle, my ambiance out of the way. So I'm just going to give this a very quick cut, and it should cut nice and all the way through. When you take a look at that in the light, we are good. You should see no pink through the middle of this. Now, I'm gonna finish cutting all the way through, and you see how nice and even that is. All right? So, you're gonna do, and you don't wanna cut these too thick, you also don't wanna cut them too thin, it'll be very hard if you cut it too thin. You wanna do definitely a little bit less than an inch, maybe a ½ an inch wide. So again, protecting myself from my blade, I'm not gonna set it on the edge. I'm going to move it on the inside, blade facing away from me. That is just good knife safety. So that way I don't go reaching, or you have a little nephew, or you have a dog laying on the floor that's gonna jump up and try to grab something. Also, if you have animals who are notorious for jumping up, you wanna put this more away from the center. Next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get started with our sauce. Our sauce is going to be a little spicy, a little bit spicy. This is the part where you can really vary your spice. If you are not a spice nut, or if you don't like hot things, don't add the chili flakes. This is what is going to give it its heat. The more you add, the hotter it will be. The less you add, the less hot it will be. If you add none, there'll still be some spice to the dish, but it won't be that much. So just be careful with this one. This one you can be a little generous with if you like garlic. This is my garlic powder. Again, we're using garlic powder, we're not using garlic salt. Garlic salt will make it extremely salty, and that's not what we're looking for with this dish. So, I'm gonna take just a nice pan. You can use any type of stovetop pan. I like this one because it's got a little bit of a lip on it. So the sauce, when you heat it up, will start to bubble and it will start to come up. Be careful, don't have your mom kill you, because this is where it gets a little messy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna heat it. Make sure I get the right one. I'm gonna put it on a medium heat. So I'm gonna put it right in the middle, so that way the pan doesn't get too hot. I also don't wanna burn anything. The hotter the heat, the more likely you are to burn something. So I'm gonna open it just very carefully. I like mine a little saucy. If you don't like it as saucy, then don't put as much sauce in. It's very simple as that. This is all about taste right now. So I'm gonna take this and I'm going to get it all in there. Okay? So again, I'm splashing a little bit. I'll come back and clean just to make sure that everybody's 100% happy with everything. But again, I'm just using a very simple Prego. I could have used Ragu, I could have used Walmart brand. It doesn't really matter when it comes to the pasta sauce type. You just need a nice red sauce. Now, what I'm gonna do from here is I'm just gonna be, like I said, very generous. If you want an actual amount, what you can do is you can pull out a tablespoon. All right, this is a tablespoon. Tablespoon will say TBSP on it. Okay, TBSP is a tablespoon. That's the bigger one. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to do, let's say 2 tablespoons. I think that'll be a lot of garlic, but again, I like garlic, so I'm going to do it the way I like it. Actually, 1 tablespoon's looking like it's good enough right here. So I'm going to flip that and say 1 tablespoon. That's why you do it a little bit at a time. You want to look at it, and you don't want to commit yourself. You want to look at it and say, okay, I think that's enough. So I'm going to do 1 tablespoon. Not 2, I'm going to do 1. Now, I'm going to take a wooden spoon, and I'm just going to give that a real quick stir. very quickly. You want to keep an eye on this because I can already see my pan getting hot. When it starts to bubble, you'll definitely be able to see everything kind of come into play. Again, if you like garlic, garlic that bad boy up. Now, this is where I gotta be a little careful because my girlfriend does not like as much heat. So I'm gonna pause for a second. This is where my girlfriend does not like as much heat, okay? So I gotta be very, very careful with my red pepper flake. So I'm just gonna do a little bit like that. And if you wanna come and just take a look and see how much I put in, so that way you can get a good guess, this is more than enough. And you can even see my pasta starting to already, my pasta sauce is already starting to boil a little bit. So you can already see it starting to heat up. So once you start to get the boiling, you want to give it a good stir. All right, and it smells really good with that garlic in there. So once you get it to kind of boil and you start to see it bubble, turn it all the way down to low heat. All the way down, okay? We're just adding a little bit of heat. We're heating up our sauce. If you want to get very adventurous and make your own sauce, that's fine. But I will tell you, homemade sauce versus store-bought sauce, if you're Italian, you can tell the difference. If you're not Italian, you don't really know much difference. I would say I almost always go with the store-bought sauce. I've created my own at some point in time. It's not worth the effort. So what I'm gonna do is, right now, I'm just putting all my ingredients together. I'm gonna finish cutting my sausage. I'm gonna finish cooking my sauce for about another minute or two while I'm cutting my sausage, and then I'm gonna put everything together. So the next time you'll see this dish, it'll be all together, and hopefully we'll be sitting down eating a very delicious, delicious dinner. Every good chef, in case you're wondering, every good chef always tries their food first. So, I'm gonna grab a couple little noodles here. Gonna grab the sausage is just right, the sauce is just right, everything is so good. And, wait for it, there's the heat. There it is on the back end. Again, don't talk with your mouth full of food either. That's bad manners. But tastes very delicious. Good chef always tastes their food. My camera woman decided she did not have makeup on, so she can't be in this. But camera woman, how was the food?
It was really good.
Thank you, camera woman. So that's everything for now. The only other thing I'm going to tell you: clean up the kitchen. Clean up the kitchen. Clean as you go, but definitely clean it up afterwards. So that's it for everything for now. This has been Cooking with Coach P. If you like it, leave a comment below, leave a like below, follow me. Everything's there for you, and send your pictures. I want to see what you're cooking as well. Bye, Simba. Say bye, Simba. High five. Boom. High five. No, not eat. High five.